Today, we are dissecting Sam Altman's recent proposal for reimagining America's social contract in the face of advancing AI. This month, April 2026, OpenAI released a 13-page document titled Industrial Policy for the Intelligence Age, Ideas to Keep People First. Altman has described the coming era of superintelligence, AI systems capable of outperforming the smartest humans, and even when assisted by AI, as so disruptive that it demands a new social contract on the scale of the progressive era or FDR's New Deal. The core proposals include creating a public wealth fund that gives every American citizen a direct stake in AI-driven growth. This fund would be seeded in part by contributions from AI companies and invest in AI firms and the broader economy, with returns distributed as dividends. Shifting the tax base. They want to move away from traditional payroll taxes toward taxes on automated labor, higher corporate taxes and capital gains to fund safety nets as jobs evolve. Piloting a 4-day work week at full pay, funded by AI productivity gains, and strengthening automatic social safety nets and ensuring broad access to AI tools framed as a right to AI in an intelligence age. The stated goal is noble on the surface: keep people first during a massive economic transition, prevent concentrated power, and broadly share prosperity. But let's examine this through the lens of John Locke, whose ideas on natural rights and the social contract fundamentally shaped modern understandings of legitimate government and human flourishing. In his second treatise of government, Locke describes the state of nature where individuals possess inherent rights to life, liberty, and property. Property is not an arbitrary invention of the rich. It arises when a person mixes their labor with the resources of the world. Your body is your own. The fruits of your effort, whether through physical work, invention, or enterprise, belong to you. Government does not create these rights. Instead, free individuals enter into a social contract by consent, forming a limited government whose sole legitimate purpose is to better protect those pre-existing rights. The public good or welfare of society, the human hive, if you will, is not achieved by the state of seizing and redistributing the products of an individual labor. It emerges organically when each person can securely enjoy the rewards of their own industry, fostering innovation, trade, and mutual prosperity. Locke was clear. The great and chief end of uniting into a commonwealth is the preservation of their property. Without secure property rights, there is no true liberty. And without liberty grounded in consent and individual effort, the collective suffers. A hive thrives not because the queen dictates shares of the honey, but because each bee retains the incentive and security to produce it. Centralized control that severs this link between labor and reward leads to dependency, inefficiency, and eventual decline, not broad welfare. Altman's proposal, for all of its forward-looking rhetoric, risks inverting this Lockean foundation. It calls for government to orchestrate a massive redistribution mechanism, a public wealth fund, partially seeded by the very AI companies driving the distribution. In Lockean terms, this isn't protecting property, it's redefining what that is. The value created by human ingenuity, now amplified by AI, would be funded through the state before reaching individuals, with the state deciding the fair share. Taxes on automated labor and capital shifts further tilting the scale away from rewarding productive effort toward collective claims on that effort. This isn't consent-based governance in the Lockean sense. It's a top-down rewrite proposed by the very architects of the technology that could upend labor markets. Locke warned that when government exceeds its protective role, when it becomes the arbiter of economic outcomes rather than the guardian of individual rights, it invites abuse, erodes the incentive to create, and weakens the social fabric. The welfare of the human hive depends on preserving the natural rights that allow individuals to flourish independently. History is littered with examples where grand redistribution mechanisms, however well-intentioned, led to stagnation precisely because they undermined that foundation. There's also a practical tension worth noting. The same entity racing towards superintelligence is now drafting the policy framework for managing its societal impacts. This isn't conspiracy, it's observable. And it's this alignment of these interests. The document positions of OpenAI's ideas as a starting point for discussion. But the scale, national wealth funds, restructured taxation, mandated work week changes would concentrate significant new authority in government AI partnerships. We don't need to scrap the Lockean social contract. We need to reaffirm it. Protect individual rights to life, liberty, and the property each person creates through their labor. Let the human hive thrive through voluntary cooperation and secure incentives, not engineered equity that treats prosperity as a fixed pie to be divided by decree. True shared benefits comes from unleashing human potential, not managing its decline. I know I threw a lot at you, but I want to hear your thoughts. Does Altman's vision strengthen society or quietly erode the principles that made broad prosperity possible? Drop your reasoning and takes in the comments below, because as you guys are seeing, we read them and we want to get you involved in the dialogue. Now, before we get into it much further, because I know I threw a lot out there, I want you to just hear Sam Altman himself, get away from the philosophy homework and get back into the meat on the bone.
To me, like, something fundamental about the social contract may have to change. It may not. It may be that, like, actually capitalism works as it's been working surprisingly well. And
in other words, I really want to rewrite this social contract to be communist in nature.
Like, demand supply balances do their thing, and we all just figure out kind of new jobs and new ways to transfer value to each other. But it seems to me likely that we will decide we need to think about how access to this maybe most important resource of the future gets shared. The best thing that it seems to me to do is to make AI compute as abundant and cheap as possible, such that we're just like,
that's right,
there's way too much and we run out of like good new ideas to really use it for, and it's just like anything you want is happening. Without that, I can see like quite literal wars being fought over it. But new ideas about how we distribute access to AGI compute, that seems like a really great direction, like a crazy but important thing to think about.
I cannot deny that there's some reality to, at least let's just take the policy reasoning. Right. The policy reasoning, we need to make this as accessible as possible. Why? Because the disenfranchised, and let's even be more real, the those that are not as cognitively sharp, they could easily benefit from mastering the crutch of AI and compensating where they lack to kind of even the playing field in a capitalist society. The problem is, by the time at which we want to kind of develop an economy that's a bit more equal in that nature, you're going to have wealth concentrated in, it's going to be OpenAI, Grok, and it's going to be like 4 companies that own the world. What does it matter that the local Amazon driver has access to AI? He's never going to become Sam Altman. Right. So that's part of the problem. But then they love, like, I think all of us would jump at a 4-day work week, dividends and stipends for free money, peddled by a fund that we're really not even putting money into. They are, but they make the fun, so they get to dictate the terms, how much they're putting in, like and security. Bingo, and where it goes. So we're going to take the money that is being used or being advertised as social welfare for the society, we're going to fund it. We'll tell you how much we're going to fund. We get to dictate that. And then we're going to tell you where it invests, which will be us. So talk about double dipping. We're going to take that fund, invest it in us, and then you get the dividends from that.
Yeah.
So we're going to take our money, invest it in us, and wherever we can get some little extra, cream off the top, we're going to throw it to the peons that don't have jobs anymore because we took them.
Right. Yeah. The ideological side of what he's trying to present doesn't sound awful. It's the cynicism in us that views it from the other side. Like, Doug, you immediately saying Social Security was in the back of my head the entire time while he was talking.
Well, dude,
I didn't even think of that. It was brilliant. What did you say, Doug?
I don't get that. Ohio and a lot of states, you can opt out of paying into your union. You have the option and not required to pay into a 401k your company may have. You don't have to put stuff in to your state retirement if you don't want to. I don't get why we're stuck with Social Security when we all know, yes, we're going to get maybe something. They like to tell us we'll get something, but it's going to be a damn near fraction of what we've put in our entire life.
Yeah.
And they're just going to keep extending the amount of time it takes for you to actually be able to get it. I'd love right now, this moment in time, opt out of Social Security the rest of my life. You keep what I put in. Fine. That's the penalty I have to pay. But I don't want to put a dime more into that freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with Doug because it's very difficult being a millennial raised in a world where you've been paying Social Security with every paycheck you've ever received. And every adult above you has been saying, well, you're never going to get it. And then I don't get to opt out of it. Then I go on Twitter and read some economist expert that's like, if you took your Social Security every year and put it into a 401k, you'd be worth $2.5 million. And I'm like, burn it down.
We all
burn this shit down.
We all have a 401k, an IRA, or whatever, like companies, unions, whatever we do have. There's usually a pension or a retirement plan, or they're contributing to a company 401k. We all usually have something already. So, why can't I not opt out? Right. I already have what's going to take care of me when I'm old. Why am I paying for someone else when they're old?
And this doesn't sound like anything we're going to be able to opt out of.
That's the bigger point.
Because we don't have a law to. Now, here's the other. Ohio's talking about getting rid of property tax. Maybe the federal government will catch on and say, there was a revolution over taxes. Maybe we should make sure we're not overtaxing these people.
But it is funny when you watch them do the sleight of hand. They go, yeah, we're going to get rid of property tax. But for us to be able to do that, we're going to have to put, sales tax on everything. It's like, no.
Florida, no, that's what Florida does to not have income tax. Florida's tax on everything is higher. That's why it costs more to buy stuff.
So again, I'm the producer. I put in work into my society. I produce value for my society at which you pay me, right? I go to work, I do my work, you pay me. So I'm a producer. I'm also a consumer. I bought the Pokemon cards. I bought the Cane's chicken. I bought the groceries. I went to the movie. I own property. And everybody's voting. I'm just saying, I'm a producer. I'm a consumer.
Right.
You tax me when I die. You tax me when I pass you don't get to eliminate a tax just to jack up another one and get credit for doing shit.
Yes.
You've done nothing.
And this will be another one.
100%.
This will be our generation's Social Security.
Social Security is way past its time. When we were in the Great Depression trying to get out of it and we needed something to guarantee that people would have something, that's fine. When we were in those years of now most companies have 401ks. Unions, stronger than they honestly used to be back in the day. Maybe not as strong as they were at some of their peak, but you have these company stipends. You have these union things. You have these state employee retirements. Companies have 401k plans. People are planning for their retirement. They're already putting stuff in. Why does the average man have to pay for Social Security? Now, there are going to be people dumb enough that want to keep paying into it. Let them be dumb enough to keep paying into it. But why do we? Like we're already preparing. Like you guys have company shit. Like I have a 401k through my company. Like I don't know. I'd rather just have that money now, like you said. Put that into my 401k. At least I know it's gaining interest versus
yours.
Yeah. And instead of me putting in, let's say $100 a paycheck in Social Security, and guess what? When it comes time, I'm going to get the equivalent of probably 10 cents per paycheck. You're never getting all of that back. They're banking on you dying before you even get to use it.
Facts.
And then when it comes back to AI, and it just sounds like another one of these taxation schemes that's going to arise where, sure, it sounds great that everyone should have access to AI, but then you hit it nail on the head. It's just going to be like another Facebook, Twitter kind of competition where it's Grok, OpenAI, and all these other 2 or 3 big ones that are just at the top, that it doesn't really benefit the non-authoritative people in this society to get a higher edge on it. Especially when the idea where he's like, yeah, I don't really know if new ideas are going to come from this. And it's all this money's going into it, and you don't even know which way it might end up.
Well, and coming back to the point just before Doug jumped in there, and you're like, and we're not going to have any choice on this. Here's what's crazy about just like that passing comment. It's like, yeah, and we're not going to negotiate the terms here. We're not going to have any say. Yeah. It's just going to be dictated for us. Well, distill that whole concept. Sam Altman goes, what I'd like to do is reimagine the social contract. Well, that is something that existed 100 years before him, that's been thought about by every great mind philosopher that's ever put pen to paper prior to him. And what's the most important part about a social contract, like pick a philosopher, their dissertation on the social contract. There's one through line. Like it is a concept, like morality. Right. Every philosopher has a dissertation on morality, but also we know what morality is generally, and they've all got an opinion of what it is. So the social contract, if you were to ask me to distill any specific philosopher out of it and just say what it is, the social contract is this agreement between the individuals and their government, because government should be limited and run by the people. It is for the people, by the people. It's just an extension of them. It's not supposed to be a separate entity controlling them. And so the social contract is an agreement. Distill even the social element. Let's just talk about what a contract is. If you go to law school, for it to be in a contract, there has to be an agreement between the two of us. You give me terms, and there is an overt agreement by me. And there's all these factors at which we can say, did these elements get achieved? Right. Getting back to the social contract, what makes the social contract a political implication, something that is instituted on the people? The people agree to it. There is nobody in North Korea in a social contract. Right. They're in chains with no choice. In a representative republic where we're watching the social contract fall out of our fingers, whatever bit of it is still ours is any bit we agree to. So like Doug said, Social Security is within the social contract insofar as you've duped me into thinking it's a good idea and I buy into it. But if you have to make me buy into it, that has now it's exceeded and left the social contract. Right. So the problem,
like most people our age would agree with that. Like they would, most people our age,
right.
Like
but now keeping it grounded in the Sam Altman point, it's his reimagining of a social contract now isn't even at its core a definitional social contract. Yeah. It is a dictation by the lords of our world. Right. We're going to here's what we're going to do, peasant. We're going to give you one more day off. Yeah, we took your job, but we're still expecting you to figure out somewhere to work for 4 days, bitch. Figure it out. 4 days a week, and we'll put in our money into us. And when we feel like it, we'll give you some back. Yep. Let me get excited for a second. I almost forgot to get excited. And who's the guy implementing this, reimagining the social contract? Sam
The
Altman.
11 most insane things the CEO who runs ChatGPT has said.
A kid born today will never be smarter than AI.
I expect some really bad stuff to happen because of the technology.
And anybody will be able to make a video of you doing whatever they want with video that's publicly available of you on the internet.
They'll be
Wait until you see what I do to you, Will. My imagination's running.
Yeah, I already imagine what
Hey,
you do anyways.
That's how I threaten these Jamaicans. Like, keep fucking with me. I'm gonna make a gay video of you.
extremely capable biomodels available open source that could help people create new pathogens. I cannot imagine having gone through that, like figuring out how to raise a newborn without ChatGPT.
Why can't this guy go missing? Not allowed to say that.
You know, it's so funny. Don't let it slip you that he's in a major lawsuit with his sister, who's like, he touched me every way to Sunday.
You should.
That's part of the social
Well,
contract.
we haven't put a sex bot avatar in.
She agreed to it. She's saying she did not.
But she doesn't know what she means.
Also,
Oh God.
either way, incest is a felony. So even if she did agree, put him away.
ChatGPT.
Ads plus AI is sort of
Looks like
uniquely
it's like
unsettling to me.
The board can fire me. I think that's important. I think the board over time needs to get like democratized to all of humanity. There's many ways that could be implemented.
If I were 22 right now and graduating college, I would feel like the luckiest kid in all of history.
We don't yet know how to think about some superintelligence being aligned with dictators and totalitarian countries. We don't know how to think about countries using AI to fight new kinds of war with each other.
People talk about how much energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life and all of the food you eat during that time before you get smart.
You know, I think AI will probably, like most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world. But in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine.
Can we boo him?
We give you the lowest rating. 2 thumbs down.
Can we give him 5 big boos? Boo! 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 Boo!
This guy sucks.
Got him.
He's gonna AI this now.
Yeah, Brad, keep it down. I don't know where Brad's gonna put me this week.
I hope none of y'all have
go
a
to my
smart
Instagram.
car.
Like every week, we'll finish the show. I'll go to my Instagram DMs, and Brad's got me in some dude. The last episode had me shirtless in between Brigitte Macron and the robot, and I was this close to posting it.
At least you weren't Melania.
Yeah, hey, I was not trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein.
I'd rather you put her video back on than that lunatic.
Dude, isn't he wild? Like that guy, and he's like, let me redraw the lines of society.
I make AI.
You're talking about all these great philosophers, right? And then you have this clown come around being like, let me redo the social contract. And it's cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
Who nominated you?
exactly.
What office were you elected or appointed to? Oh, that's right. None.
None.
I'd rather have Elon do it than him.
Ain't that sad?
And I'm not setting the bar high when I say that. I'm just saying, I'd rather have Elon do it.
Was Elon's psyched to hear you say that because he hates Sam Altman. It is a great dynamic.
How would people not?
Say what you will about the way American society is created or put together, but I will say there's one virtue in America that always provides competition.
Yes.
Even 2 computer dorks duke it out.
Yeah.
Duke it out, and I'll take the best.
Yeah. Have them fight.
Dude,
Put them in a boxing.
can we go back to I think it was like a year and a half ago when Elon Musk is like, I would do a UFC with Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
And then Mark Zuckerberg trained for like 7 months straight. And he's like, I'm not gonna do that.
That's how you know Mark Zuckerberg's a robot, because he saw that video and he's like, yeah, I mean, he said so. I'm like, I'll go to the gym. Why not?
His own.
Walked in there like this, started fighting. No, it would have been great.
Oh
my God, dude.
Oh my God, dude.
You know, that's the thing. When I see this Sam Altman guy, he's got such a punchable face too. I used to think Zuckerberg did now, and now It is, but it's not in first.
Right. So, one of the things that I want to consider, and it's just, okay. I want to present a consideration. In theory, when it takes AI over, we definitely, yes. Okay. So with this consideration, in theory, when AI takes over the workforce, how does the human hive remain individual stakeholders so they don't have to rely on apportionment by decree? In Lockean framework, the human hive, society as a whole, thrives precisely when every individual remains a genuine stakeholder through secure natural rights to life, liberty, and property, never through top-down apportionment by government decree. John Locke's second treatise of government is explicit. Property is not created or granted by the state. It arises when an individual mixes their labor with the world around them. Now, here's the problem that John Locke just didn't live long enough to address, which is what happens when the game of Monopoly plays itself to its absolute fullest. And now we have a very unfair polarization of wealth and money, because now we're at a point where just a couple of the top dogs are going to own absolutely everything. And that's what we're up against. I have to give him his flowers where they're due. Sam Altman, whether it is genuine or just a political show, what he is putting on is an effort to try to preserve or fight that polarization of wealth, knowing that that is quite literally inevitable.
Yes.
Inevitable. So I guess here's what I'm going to say. This is the closing out of the show.
Not to cut you off, but that's why I think he's disingenuous.
True there too.
Like, that's why I think he's disingenuous. Like he's clearly a bright individual. For him to think it's like Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones. I'm going to break the wheel. You're not special. You're not going to figure it out. Look at John Locke all those years ago, and even he didn't have the foresight to what monopolies in capitalistic society could end up becoming. And it's for him. You think OpenAI is going to break the social construct for the global world, the global hive? I just don't see it coming.
Well, I don't know if it's
a disingenuity.
I can definitely see that end. Now, I don't know if this is in contrast to your position or not, but what I was going to say is when it comes to Sam Altman giving his presentation, we know that through Lockean considerations, but also its conflict with a real social contract, we know that that isn't the ideal framework. We're not going, here's what I'll say, this being kind of the end of the episode, we're not going to come up with an answer yet of what it needs to look like as this evolves and jobs are gone and wealth is monopolized by a handful at the top. However, if I could take away anything from John Locke's position, that decision should never leave it can never leave our hands.
I agree with
and we need to be the ones drawing the lines of what that future looks like, regardless of how much wealth you think you have. Because a giant pile of money means nothing when you don't have slaves to grind away to provide you that society. Yeah. So who's going to take your dollar? You know, you want to buy a yacht? Somebody's got to take that. And if you kill society to the point where there's no regular business beyond just you and your cronies, you're not going to have a society anymore, or you're going to have a revolution. So let me just kind of pass it around the room and then we'll get to the wheel. Ricky, do you have any wrapping thoughts on this whole Sam Altman social contract?
Doug was preaching.
Hey.
I want to get out of SSI. I'd rather put that in index fund, as Doug was saying, or ETF. Saul Altman is first time hearing about this guy. I never knew the creator of OpenAI. You know, but he seemed like he's just trying to get rid of us. He's just trying to replace us.
You be accurate. You got your finger on the pulse, Ricky.
So you know what we say? Fuck him.
Yeah. You know what we say in the streets? Fuck him. And we all agree.
2 thumbs up.
Two thumbs up to Ricky. We vote for Ricky. Ricky, give Ricky the job. Can we make you the CEO of OpenAI?
Shit. Let's do it.
Nice.
Any rapid thoughts?
No, I mean those were my rapping thoughts. I unfortunately want to say I've seen enough of Sam Altman, but I know I won't. Dude, he sniffs his own farts.
Dude, yeah.
That is a man who loves to do that.
Dude.
And he's not going to stop. He's only going to want to sniff them more.
Your point is more metaphorical than real, but we don't know. Could be. I'm not counting it out. But what I will say is when everybody's got their freak, their thing.
Yes.
His has to be extreme. Whatever his secret is that he does in a private room, his is the most extreme.
Just look at him.
Right.
They're putting him on stage, and he's just so fortunate. Like, he's not dumb. He's a brilliant person. That's the unfair, scary part of all of this. That's why I just look at him, and it's like, do you think he's disingenuous? Yes. Yes. He's going to go from 4 to 3 day work week and be, oh, took all your jobs. Sorry. Did I do that? Is that part of the social
3-day
contract?
work week? Where do I get to work for 3 days? Figure it out.
Figure it out.
There's no jobs. I said figure it out.
Here's your stipend.
So, Doug, you got a lot of preaching in. Do you have any rapping thoughts?
Yeah, more people should talk to their representatives and senators about getting an opt-out clause in Social Security. I think it's lived its purpose. There are people that may need to bank on it, but there are plenty of people who might say, no, I'd rather live off of my retirement and have that money now, because you never know. And I'd rather have that money now. And if you had that money now and put it to your own 401k, you can pass it on to whoever your will states. Whereas Social Security, you don't have like an actual like heir, like a family member, or whatnot. That money just gets circulated around. I don't think I can say I want all my Social Security money to go to X person. 401k, you tend to have more control of that.
2 thumbs up.
Great point, Doug. And that's a good through line through kind of all of our considerations. But I hold on, Doug, because I got to ask you, I'm coming back with another question. But what are your thoughts on an AI-oriented social contract?
Oh, I didn't really like his social contract, but it made me think of my own contract, which would be opting out of Social Security. Although I wouldn't mind a 4-day work week.
Oh, okay. There we go.
We lost him.
Doug's on the hook.
No, that's it.
Sam's brilliant.
Let's be honest. You ask anyone, would you rather work 4 or 5 days? They're going to say 4. Everything else in that, I didn't agree with. But 4 days. Yeah.
Sam's just like, oh, I almost got him.
Almost got him. I'm gonna think about Social Security. We might get Doug back. Anyway, in conclusion, after examining Sam Altman's April 2026 proposal for a new social contract through the industrial policy for intelligence age, through the rigorous lens of John Locke's second treatise of government, the verdict is clear. Altman's vision of public wealth funds, automated labor taxes, and mandated workweek pilots it's just a one way of strengthening society in the age of superintelligence, but it also undermines the very foundation that has produced genuine human flourishing for centuries. Locke taught that the human hive society as a whole does not thrive because government decrees shares of property. It thrives when every individual retains secure natural rights to life, liberty, and property. And the key here is securing the property for society and not letting it being dictated by the lords above us. Altman's framework severs this link by positioning the state and the very AI companies driving distribution as the central allocator of gains. It converts free individuals into dependence on engineered equity. It replaces consent-based government, whose sole legitimate end is the preservation of pre-existing rights, with a top-down rewrite that treats prosperity as a fixed pie to be sliced by decree. So, history confirms the pattern. Lockean societies of secure property rights produced by the unprecedented broad-based wealth that lifted populations from substances. Centralized redistribution schemes, however, compassionately framed, have not. With all these considerations, you just need to take this into your mind. This path that keeps the human hive alive, buzzing, and genuinely prosperous is not as managed as a managed collective, but as a voluntary association of sovereign individuals. The choice before us is not between progress and stagnation. It is between a future built on consent and property, or one built on control and dependence. For the sake of every individual bee, and therefore the hive itself, let us choose the former. All right.